7 days old, still surviving. The shocking truth about a billionaire's fatherly dilemma. The room was thick with tension on the 7th day of the baby's life. As the clock's hands grasped for time in a blur, breaths were held tight, whispers echoed uncertainty, and the walls seemed to pulse with a heartbeat of their own. There was something unnatural about a child so small, yet so widely discussed, locked away inside the mansion of a billionaire whose reputation hung by a thread. It wasn't just any child. Rumors spun wild tales of how this baby could inherit a fortune enough to make kings green with envy. Yet the mystery lay deeper. Why had this child been born after years of silence from his father's once celebrated lineage? The truth was crafty and hidden behind doors that were never opened. Light flickered from a distant window, casting eerie shadows that danced like phantoms across the polished marble floors. A heavy silence blanketed the house, interrupted only by the occasional crack of wood settling. Outside, a storm brewed, dark clouds swirling as if nature itself was warning them of something sinister lurking just beyond the walls. The staff exchanged anxious glances, knowing something was amiss. They had been instructed not to speak of the baby, but murmurs slipped through like smoke. Some claimed the baby was blessed, while others dared to suggest a curse, a shadowy birth that had emerged from desperation. As night sank its claws into the mansion, the tension escalated. The baby's cries shattered the silence, a sound so raw it felt like an alarm. Was it joy, or an omen? The mother, weary and distraught, face pale, felt reality bend around her. She had given birth against all odds, a miracle, some said. But why did the billionaire appear to struggle under its weight? His brows knitted, eyes wide as if he stood on the precipice of revelation. He paced like a caged lion, haunted. There was a promise made, a secret that lingered, protecting the child yet imprisoning its father. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Just when it seemed the air couldn't grow heavier, a knock sharp and startling broke through the swirling storm of emotions. The door creaked open, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness. Gasps filled the room. Who could it be? What did they want? A whisper of hope flickered in attention, but could anyone trust the intention of a mysterious new arrival on such a fateful night? As the figure stepped inside, the light caught their eyes, deep, knowing, and unsettling. This was just the beginning, and already, the stakes were higher than anyone could predict. The figure stepped further into the room, each movement slow and deliberate, as if they were measuring the reactions of everyone present. The mother, the billionaire, and the staff frozen in a tableau of fear and confusion. Something about them felt unsettling, and an icy grip of dread settled deep in the marrow of the mansion. Who are you? The billionaire's voice trembled, breaking through the suffocating silence. His usually calm expression was replaced by something raw and desperate, like a man on the brink of losing everything. The stranger's smile was chilling, a mix of confidence and mockery that made the hairs on the back of the mother's neck stand on end. I am someone who knows the truth. The truth about your son. Gasps echoed around the room, an electric charge filling the air. The baby, momentarily quieted by the tense atmosphere, seemed to sense the shift, tiny fists clenching as if seeking to protect itself from whatever storm was coming. A heartbeat passed. The tension felt palpable, as if it could be sliced through with a knife. The mother instinctively pulled the baby closer, her heart racing, a primal need to protect rising within her. She studied the figure, eyes scanning for any hint of sincerity, but all she saw was a darkness that sent shockwaves of fear through her. What truth? The billionaire stepped forward, clenching his fists, though his spine quivered under the weight of something else, a guilt, perhaps, or an unspoken fear. If you know something, just say it. The figure tilted their head as if savoring each moment of uncertainty. A secret buried for years just waiting for the right moment to resurface. A flicker of triumph crossed their face, as if relishing the chaos they had invoked. Enough games. The mother's voice cracked, the fear evolving into anger. What do you want? Why are you here? The stranger's gaze flickered toward the crying baby, something sinister glinting in their eyes. I want what's rightfully mine, and it starts with the child. Shocked whispers erupted, feeding the tension in the air. The baby let out a wail that seemed to pierce the thickening fog of dread. The lights in the room flickered again, this time brighter, as if to illuminate the dark intentions lurking in the shadow. He can't be touched. The billionaire shouted, desperation lacing his words. You stay away from him. Yet the figure seemed unfazed, stepping closer to the cradle, the air growing heavy with a threat that felt almost tangible. You're mistaken. The child is a link to a past you cannot escape. It's the legacy that calls to him. The words hung in the air, potent and menacing, like storm clouds about to unleash their fury. Suddenly, a thunderous crash shook the mansion, rattling windows and echoing through the corridors. The ground trembled beneath their feet, as if the very foundation of their lives was shifting. Fear gripped the room, hearts racing, breaths caught tight as the lights dimmed, plunging them into a near-total darkness. Get back! The mother screamed as she shielded the baby with her body. The world around them was dissolving, and yet that figure remained, eyes gleaming with hidden knowledge and a twisted sense of purpose. Amidst the chaos, a realization dawned on the billionaire: someone or something was manipulating their lives from the shadows, and this terror was far from over. What had he truly started by bringing this child into the world? As the storm raged outside, so too did a tempest of feeling within him. He was losing control, and the weight of secrets long buried threatened to crush him. Do you want the truth? The figure's voice sliced through the tumult, raising a chilling laugh that echoed through the mansion. Then prepare for what's to come. With eyes wide, the mother took a step back, dread clawing at her throat. Because the stranger's last words, the promise of revelations yet to unfold, hung thick in the air, a dark cloud of uncertainty that loomed just above them all. What could possibly lie in wait for the family that had dared to reclaim the truth? The room was sick with fear. The flickering lights tried to hold back the shadows, but the stranger's presence felt like an encroaching storm. The mother tightened her grip around her baby, heart hammering like a war drum. What do you know? She demanded, steel edging her voice, though her mind screamed to retreat. I will do anything to protect him. The figure laughed, a sound that chilled the bone. Anything? You think you can protect him from what's coming? You have no idea the storm that is upon you. The child carries not only his own legacy but the burdens of those who came before him. The words dripped with malice, each one laced with decades of secrets and lies. The billionaire, his eyes burning with a mix of defiance and fear, shot back, stop lying, there's no legacy. This is our son, our family. The conviction in his words felt thin, almost paper-like under the weight of uncertainty, but the stranger only smiled wider, and for a moment, the room felt smaller, suffocating. Family? Tell me, what does that mean in a world steeped in betrayal? They stepped closer to the cradle, the shadows dancing dramatically around them. The mother felt her breath hitch, a bone-deep instinct urging her to flee, but she couldn't. Her baby was at stake. Don't you dare come any closer. She shouted, voice quaking but fierce. The adrenaline coursed through her veins like fire. In the distance, the storm raged, thunder roaring, a primal symphony accompanying their personal hell. Ah, such brave words from a mother unaware of the true nature of her child's origins, the figure taunted, and the baby let out another wail, loud and piercing. Each cry felt like a warning, echoed by the mansion trembling around them. Outside, the rain hammered down, a manic tempo against the windows. Inside, every gaze had turned to the figure, eyes wide with fear and disbelief. The staff, usually so poised, were now utterly powerless, their faces pale masks of dread. Secrets, the figure continued, their voice low, almost conspiratorial. Do you know how much they can hurt? How they shape families, how they can tear them apart. The truth about your son, your world, it's all interwoven with things that would make any mother lose her mind. A shiver ran through the mother, an icy tingle racing down her spine. She would not falter, but inside her was a gnawing unease. What could be worse than living a lie? Enough. The billionaire barked, stepping between the figure and the cradle, chest heaving, fists balled tightly at his sides. If you're so clever, tell us what this truth is. Stop playing these games. My family is off limits. The figure leaned back, an exaggerated sigh spilling from their lips. Very well. But every story has a cost, and you must be willing to pay. Suddenly, with a loud crash, the large chandelier above them swayed violently, as if swarmed by unseen hands. A single shard of glass fell, shattering on the floor like thunder. The mother instinctively shielded the baby further as panic surged. What are you doing? She cried, terror pinning her in place. Preparing you for a revelation you'll never forget, the figure answered, with a glint of something dark and unfathomable in their eye. And just like that, the lights flickered one last time before darkness enveloped the room completely. Wake up! Rasped the voice from the void, its echo swirling like ghosts in the night. The truth wants you dead, but I can offer a chance. The tension in the air churned around them, a prelude to something catastrophic. What chance could possibly lie in the shadows of such ominous words? And who would they need to sacrifice to secure it? The silence was suffocating, clinging to every corner of the room like cobwebs. The mother's heart raced, each second stretching into eternity. She clutched her baby tightly, his small form pressed against her chest, oblivious to their looming crisis. The darkness wrapped around them, swallowing the flickering remnants of security. The stranger's voice sliced through the void, raspy and wet. You think hiding in the shadows will protect you? The storm is closer than you think, and it knows your name. The billionaire stepped forward, his face pale yet filled with determination. Show us. What do you mean? Who are you? His voice cracked, the bravado thin as a strand of hair. The fear radiating from him was palpable, swirling the tension tighter around them. I am the bearer of truths you wish to stay buried, the stranger replied, weaving through the darkness as if it were their playground. Your precious legacy. It's nothing but a festering wound, incredibly deep and painfully old. The mother felt her hands trembling, a premonition slicing through her. What could be so dreadful that the shadows themselves trembled at its mention? Stop with the riddles. She shouted, stepping closer to the stranger. Just tell us what it means. Who is our son? A flash of jagged lightning illuminated the room for a fleeting instant, and in that blink, she saw them clearly, a face marked by years of secrets and pain. The very essence of chaos wrapped in a haunting smile. Ah, so many questions and more than one answer, the figure whispered, leaning closer to the cradle, the laughter sinister. Your boy is not merely a child of hopes and dreams, he is a vessel. A vessel carrying the weight of histories that hunger for blood. The air grew colder as adrenaline coursed through her veins. She couldn't breathe. No. He's not a monster. He's just a baby. You're lying. Each word felt like a desperate prayer, battling against the overwhelming dread. Lies are the only comfort in the face of truth, the stranger replied, a sinister glint in their eye. But tell me, mother, how far would you go to save him? This legacy demands sacrifices. Blood for knowledge. Life for life. A echoing crash broke through the silence. A heavy wooden door slammed open, revealing a figure standing outside the threshold. The staff, those who had been so powerless, now looked like sentinels against the black night. Fear flickered in their eyes, mingling with disbelief. Do you hear that? One of them stammered, unable to move. Please, we need to go. The stranger laughed, a sound that dropped the temperature in the room further. Where do you think you can run? The storm is already here. Outside, the wind howled, as if it carried the weight of 1,000 whispers. The sound clawed at her sanity, and the air turned electric. Suddenly, the lights flickered back to life, and the mother laid eyes on her child, a vision of innocence against the chaos unraveling before them. "Enough!" she shouted, stepping forward despite the terror clawing at her stomach. "If you want blood, take mine. Just leave my son out of this." "Ah, but that's where you misunderstand," the figure said, taking a predatory step forward, shadows swirling around them like a cloak. "The choice is not yours alone. The child will decide. And when that time comes, what will you sacrifice to keep him alive?" Her breath caught in her throat as realization crashed over her. Her heart pounded a desperate rhythm, half aware that their world was shattering. Before she could answer, a howl of wind erupted, followed by a crashing sound like a great beast shaking the foundations of the mansion. The ground shuddered, and the lights flickered dangerously. "Time is ticking," the figure warned, shadows pulling back as if waiting in anticipation. "The storm is here, and when it breaks, your son will be at the center of it all." Dread settled in her stomach like a weight, and her gaze met the billionaire's, an unspoken understanding passing between them. They had to act before it was too late. But what would they discover about their son that would force them to confront unimaginable choices? Could they face the truth of their own blood, or would the storm sweep them all away? The voice of the stranger pulsed in the heavy air, a sharp reminder that time was no longer on their side. The mother's heart raced as she glanced at her baby, and in that fragile moment, uncertainty twisted like a dagger in her chest. What were the truths locked away in that tiny body? Outside, the wind screamed, rattling the windows with a fury that seemed to mirror her racing thoughts. "We have to go." The staff echoed, urgency lacing their voices, their eyes darting towards the shadows gathering in the corners, dark entities waiting for the choice to be made. The billionaire widened his stance, defiance flickering in his steely eyes. "Wait!" he shouted, his voice steadying like a rallying cry. "What do we need to do to protect him?" The stranger's lips curled into a menacing smile, as if the question alone was an invitation to play a deadly game. "Ah, the power of parental instinct. But know this, to shield your son, you must first uncover the cursed bloodline to which he belongs. Once the storm breaks, the veil of ignorance will be torn away." The mother felt the world tilt. Her grip tightened around her son, her lifeline to purity in the madness. "What do you mean? What will happen?" She felt the desperation choke her words, and her body trembled, anticipating the worst. "It is a choice that could haunt you both," the figure chided, shadowy hands twisting in the air like smoke. "When the sun rises anew, you will stand before the truth, and you shall have one shot to sever the chains binding your child's fate." Lightning cracked again, casting a brief flash that illuminated the fear etched on her face. She took a step back, feeling the weight of the world resting on her fragile shoulders. "What if the truth is worse than we fear?" "The truth is always worse than you could possibly imagine," the stranger taunted, their form flickering like a mirage, sending chills racing down her spine. "But it's vital. For every lie you live, a price must be paid." The unspoken threat hung heavily over them. Would a truth that could destroy them all lie dormant within their innocent son? A possibility that chilled her heart deeper than the night surrounding them. "Maybe it's not the truth, but the choice that matters," the billionaire murmured, a glimmer of realization dawning in his eyes. "What if the sacrifice would save him? What if it demands everything from us?" The word sent a quiver through the room, a tension so thick it felt come tangible weight in the air. Without warning, a visceral growl erupted from the depths of the darkness, shaking them all to their core. The shadows writhed, as primal sounds of hunger clawed against the fabric of their sanity. The walls felt alive, echoing the ominous heartbeat of what lurked or they needed to face. "Decide!" the stranger barked. "The time for hesitation is over. Will you stand against the storm or succumb to its fury? Your son is the key to either salvation or damnation." Before she could process, the lights flickered again, and with them, a memory surfaced, visions of folklore she had dismissed long ago. Stories of bloodlines, of curses intertwined with fate. She felt her breath hitch, panic gripping her throat. As reality collapsed around them, shadows surged in response to her doubts. What was waiting, lurking on the other side of revelation? A decision loomed like a dark cloud over her family, a single choice to alter their path forever. The wind howled louder, and she felt the ground tremble beneath her. What would the price of redemption be? How far would they go to uncover their son's destiny, and more urgently, what monstrous truth awaited them on the other side of dawn? Fear gripped the mother, a tightening band around her chest, as if the storm outside was trying to swallow them whole. She held her baby tighter, feeling the weight of 1,000 untold fears crashing around her. The sinister stranger, casting flickers of shadows with each word, seemed almost to revel in their desperation. "Let us not waste time," the billionaire urged, resolve hardening in his tone. "What do we need to do?" The stranger's smile widened, an unsettling helm over a darkness she couldn't quite define. "Embrace the chaotic bloodline," he said, voice low yet piercing. "Long ago, sacrifices were made for power. Those ties have remained dormant, yet now they awaken." "Sacrifices?" The mother barely managed to whisper, but the word hung bitter in her mouth. "What kind of sacrifices?" "Oh, the kind that mark you forever," he replied with a flourish of his hand that sent ripples through the air, as if mocking their innocence. The shadows danced with his voice, birthing a primal fear that clawed at her insides. Desperation painted her thoughts with darker hues. What price would be paid for any chance of safety? A guttural growl erupted once more, shaking the fragile walls around them. The wooden beams creaked as if alive, encasing them in an oppressive embrace that stifled breath. The air grew thick with foreboding, as soon as the growls morphed into low rumbles, like a beast being stirred from slumber. "From the bloodline," the stranger intoned, his tone now ominous, "your son can tap into forces beyond comprehension. But the darker truth lies in what must be paid in return." The mother's mind spun. What did this mean for her child? A son destined to possibly unleash something terrifying. "Tell us," she insisted, a fierce flicker of determination igniting within her. The thought of leaving her child unprotected seemed unbearable, yet she was unprepared to face the darkness hidden within their past. "What do you mean by darkness?" He stepped closer, insidious in his calmness. "The lineage of power has blood on its hands. The truth can curse you, or it can set you free, but that choice, oh that choice, it blooms in shadow. There lies your path." A jagged crack of lightning illuminated a vision in her mind, distant faces, people she had never known, their expressions twisted in agony. They seemed to reach for her as if warning her. "No," she gasped. There was something deeply wrong in those faces. "Yes," the stranger affirmed, as if sensing her horror. "They reside within him, they always have. The storm awakens what you've tried to bury." The lights began to flicker more violently now. In those flickers, she saw flashes of breathless moments, a life spiraling down into despair, echoes of wailing pain etched into the walls, trapping her. What must be done to save him? The billionaire interjected, his voice a calm but frantic call for clarity amid the chaos swirling around them. "Bound by blood and choice," the stranger murmured, like a chant conjuring shadows. "You will unveil a truth that can either crush the curse or bind your bloodlines forever. One must bear the burden. Will it be you?" The walls rattled, the storm inside her matching the fury outside. The tension was unbearable, a tightrope they walked upon. Who will sacrifice? The question echoed around the room, mingling with the howling winds as if the very universe were holding its breath. The mother's heart raced at the implication. Would she trade anything to ensure her son's safety? The winds screamed in furious approval, and she felt dizzy, stranded between choice and consequences. And just like that, darkness closed in tighter around them while the clock ticked ominously toward dawn. What were they willing to lose? What hidden horrors awaited them once the light broke and the truth revealed itself? A moment stretched into eternity as the stranger's question wrapped around them like a noose. Every heartbeat roared in the mother's ears, drowning out the storm's fury. She could feel the oppressive silence pressing against her chest, the weight of inevitability seeped into the very air they breathed. Was it really a choice? The lights flickered again, casting eerie shadows that danced like spirits around the room. Her eyes darted between the stranger, the billionaire, and her baby, cradled in her trembling arms. The storm outside raged on, but within her, a tempest brewed even fiercer. "Who will it be?" the billionaire asked, each word hauntingly clear, yet weighed down with dread. He glanced at her, desperation evident in his gaze. "We can't let this happen to him. Sacrifice his bloodline," she murmured, trying to grasp the magnitude of this twisted revelation. Would she truly be asked to sever some part of herself for the sake of her son's future? The flickering light revealed the stranger's expression, half mocking, half serious, as if he thrived on their anguish. "Sacrifices," he echoed, each syllable sharpened by malice. "For power, for safety. You must untangle the darkness, or your family's past will consume your son. A price must be paid." A crash of thunder followed, rattling the windows and sweating doubt down her spine. What if this power unleashed forces beyond their control? Images flooded her mind, sharp faces twisted in anguish, bloodied hands raised in defeat. Her stomach churned at the thought of her child carrying such a burden. The winds outside screamed, urging her, as if the storm itself could sense her hesitance. "What happens if we refuse?" she asked, her voice breaking slightly. "Ah," the stranger drawled, reveling in her dread. "Then the chaos asleep within him might awaken anyway. And it could be far worse than anything I've described." Her mind raced. She couldn't let anything happen to her baby. But what horror lurked within their bloodline? She looked down at her son, fragile and unaware. The thought of trading any part of him for power, safety, or anything else made her stomach flip. "Do you see now?" the stranger whispered, his voice a silken thread wrapping tight around her. "The choice isn't just for you, it's for him too. Curses bind but can also forge a path. What will you choose to wield?" She gazed at him, the weight of centuries of history palpable in the oppressive air. "What do you want from us?" Her hand tightened around her son, drawing strength from his innocence. "Clarity," he said, leaning closer, shadows now almost tangible around him. "One must be willing to face the past to ensure a future. You'll find out who you can trust, and who you cannot." Suddenly, a violent gust burst through the room, knocking an old photo frame off the mantel. It shattered on the floor, a jarring reminder that nothing was safe anymore. The shards reflected fractured glimpses of her life, each breaking point a testament to her choices. "Please," her voice trembled, desperation coating her request. "Just tell me what I need to do." "Choose wisely," he said, a menacing glint in his eyes. "For lights like these can dim forever if the wrong path is taken together. We unravel the truth lurking in darkness, but only one shall carry the spark." A slow nod passed between the billionaire and her, a silent understanding forged in fear. She sensed the pull of fate, could almost taste the approaching dawn. Yet, as the storm raged, her heart thundered louder than ever. Who would bear the burden that might seal their fates? They were standing at the edge of a cliff, with terror beneath them. And as morning approached, the shadows around them promised that this was only the beginning. What awaited them when the first light broke through? Would they embrace their destinies, or would they remain shackled by their lineage's sins? The candles flickered violently as the storm outside raged on, shadows twisting through the dimly lit room. Each bright flare of flame seemed to reveal a deeper layer of fear in their eyes. The mother clutched her baby tighter, feeling the warmth of his tiny body against her chest. How was she supposed to choose a path that could alter the course of their lives forever? "No more games," she breathed, her voice firm despite the tremors coursing through her. "What exactly are you asking from us?" The stranger smiled slowly, his teeth sharp and gleaming like a predator's. "A life for a life, a burden for a blessing. Choose the path that shall save him or doom him. There is no middle ground." The billionaire took a step forward, urgency pulsing through him. "That's insane. You want us to sacrifice someone? Who do you think we are?" The stranger's gaze pierced through their protest like a dagger. You are merely reflections of a history you do not yet understand. The bloodline makes you powerful, but it also binds you to a legacy of darkness. Would you rather your boy grow up in chains, or free albeit at a price? The wind howled again, rattling the windows, as though mocking their hesitation. Outside, the world might have looked serene to an uninformed onlooker, but deep down, chaos reigned. Buildings creaked and swayed, the night sky bruised with anger. Feeling her heart race, she finally spoke, "What kind of sacrifice? You're talking about who?" The shadows shifted subtly, wrapping around the stranger as he gestured towards the corner where an ancient, dust-covered tome lay waiting. It pulsed with a strange energy, dark yet inviting. Her eyes widened in realization, the flicker of recognition sparking fear deeper than any storm could conjure. "The choice lies within the pages of that book," he stated, his voice dangerously smooth. "Begin the ritual with your son. Offer your blood to bind your will to his fate, or relinquish him to the fate that runs in your veins and dwells in the dark." "Are you insane?" The billionaire's voice rose, splintering the tense atmosphere. "You want to take my son's blood? He is only a baby." "A vessel, yes," the stranger replied, not dropping his gaze. "A powerful vessel cursed with your lineage's secrets. The storm, the shadows, they are not mere weather, they are manifestations of what he carries within. Embrace it, or let it consume him." With those words, the room began to swell with energy, the air thick and charged. The mother's knees nearly buckled under the weight of possibility. Chaos lurked just beneath the surface, whispering promises of dark power and unimaginable consequences. Her breath quickened as she wrestled with the implications. Could she even consider this? The flashes of lightning outside illuminated the uncertainty on both men's faces. For the first time, she saw fear in the billionaire's eyes, and it fueled her own. If they let this dark pact unfold unchecked, what would become of their son? A distant crash outside caused her to jump, drawing her attention back to the storm's fury. She could almost hear the echoes of a long-forgotten legacy clawing to be heard, a primal urge to act, to decide. The stranger leaned closer, an almost hypnotic gleam in his eyes. "Time runs thin. Choices must be made, or fate sealed. What will it be? Will you sever the chains or allow the darkness to take root?" A surge of rage bubbled within her, mixed with despair. "You think I would ever?" But before she could finish, a blinding flash of lightning illuminated the room, casting its light in sharp clarity. In that shocking moment, she glimpsed something horrific, a figure, standing just behind the stranger, shrouded in shadows, eyes glowing a deep red. Panic seized her, and in an instant, she understood that refusing this choice could lead to a far more dreadful end. The stranger's voice slithered into her thoughts. "What will you choose? The time is now." And as they stood on the precipice of madness, the weight of fate pressing heavily down on them, she felt the storm inside her mirror the storm outside the choice raging. With the same relentless intensity, what beast awaited them beyond daylight? Would dawn be salvation or the harbinger of their doom? The air crackled, tightening around them like a noose as tension clawed deeper into the room. The stranger's emerald eyes shimmered with an unsettling delight, feeding off their fear. They could feel the heaviness of choice settling on their shoulders, crushing them beneath its weight. "I want to do it," she shouted, her voice breaking through the chaos, desperately clutching the tiny life in her arms. The baby's soft whimpers pierced the storm's roars, a fragile note of innocence amidst the dark promise of what loomed ahead, but the stranger only chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that echoed through the shadows. "Then you doom him yourself. You see, the legacy you fear is not just inside him, it's woven into your very essence. It will not allow him peace." She blinked back tears, trembling. "What do you mean?" "Let me show you." The creature stepped back slightly, casting a wave of shadows across the tome on the table, the ancient letters illuminating for a fleeting second, shifting and writhing like trapped serpents. In that moment, the billionaire stepped forward, his face pale, mouth a tight line. "What will you do to protect him? If this is true, then what do we do?" "It's simple, really." The stranger's whisper stretched out, thick with anticipation. Make a choice. Your blood, your commitment, or relinquish him to the fate written long before his birth. The room darkened, cloaked in a silence that felt alive, electric with possibilities. Outside, the storm intensified, howling like a beast set free. Wind beat against the walls, a visceral reminder of the turmoil raging outside, twisting their sanctuary into a fortress of nightmares. Maybe we don't have to decide now. The billionaire's attempt at reason was feeble, a desperate grasp at control. What if there's another way? A smirk curled the corners of the stranger's mouth. No other way exists. This is not a negotiation. The air thickened with unspoken truths. Shadows curled tighter around the edges of the room, encroaching on reality, mingling with desperate breaths. The mother felt cold dread steep into her bones, a stark contrast to the warmth of her baby, who continued to breathe, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in their lives. The hunger in the stranger's gaze beckoned. Choose. In darkness, there is power and freedom. Fight it and find only chains. His words struck a raw nerve, a truth too terrifying to digest. What kind of monster was he? A monster who thrived off their fear, promising salvation through bloodshed. She glanced down, cradling the baby, feeling a surge of love mixed with desperate need to protect, but conflicted by the stranger's bitter allure. Make your choice. His words dripped with dread, echoing in her mind like a clock ticking towards doom. Suddenly, another powerful gust blasted through the windows, rattling the frames and extinguishing the flickering flames. In the pitch darkness that followed, fear gripped her heart, squeezing until it ached. She felt as if she was teetering on the edge of a chasm, ready to plunge into the unknown. What if we refuse? The question slipped from her lips, barely audible above the wind. Then there are no guarantees for either of you. The storm your lineage brings will come crashing down, a full reckoning. His words coiled in the air, sinister and inevitable, the weight of his promise hanging heavy. As the shadows swelled and pulsed with life, she understood the gravity of her dilemma more than ever. What price was she willing to pay? Was there a difference between saving her son and damning countless others? The storm abated momentarily, and in the silence, she felt a glimmer of strength, a hint of hope. But was it enough? As her heartbeat thundered, she realized the importance of her next move could fracture their lives forever. What if the stranger spoke the truth? In this harrowing moment, a final decision seemed imminent. Would she pay the price? The echo of someone whispering behind her sent chills racing down her spine. What will you offer? The candle's glow emerged, illuminating the darkness once more, revealing truths yet to be faced. And as she held her baby tight, ready to face whatever lay ahead, a chilling scream erupted from somewhere outside, the first true warning of the darkness that would soon crawl into their lives. What was waiting in the blackness beyond, ready to be unleashed? The dawn broke like a fragile promise, unveiling a distorted world still trembling from the chaos of the night. Shadows gradually receded, but the heavy air felt thick with anticipation. The storm had calmed, leaving the once violent winds as whispers of lingering dread. But for the mother, the real storm was only beginning. She held her baby tightly, staring into those innocent eyes filled with untainted hope. I will do anything to protect you, she murmured, her resolve crystallizing. Today was the day she would reclaim her family from the clutch of darkness, no matter the cost. As the golden light streamed through shattered windows, illuminating the remnants of the night's turmoil, she turned toward the stranger, absorbing the space, still cloaked in shadow. Enough of the riddles. Tell me what I must do. Her voice bore the weight of desperation wrapped in determination. The stranger's expression twisted into a smirk, a hint of amusement. You're finally ready to embrace the truth. Sacrifice is merely a trade, a life for a life, your blood or the child's. The air thickened with tension, the promise of darkness sparking at the edges of her consciousness. The weight of history and bloodline wrapped around her, squeezing tight with every breath. But she would not be crushed. If I'm to save him, then I will take the burden upon myself. A slow, mocking clap filled the air as the stranger stepped closer. And yet, the power you claim comes at a cost. A deeper betrayal waits, intertwined within the threads of fate. Show me. She demanded, taking a defiant step forward. The air crackled, vibrating with the intensity of her emotions. With a flick of the stranger's wrist, the ancient tome burst into life, pages flipping wildly as if possessed, pulling her in with a dreadful hunger. They revealed images of faces long buried under the weight of shame and loss. Each is a choice that extends beyond mere sacrifice, he crooned. Each binds you deeper to the legacy of darkness. Chills raced down her spine, the flames of the past flickered in echoes. No. She forced her heartbeat steady, reminding herself of the fragile life in her arms. I will not be consumed. A good legacy can spawn from this, one that breaks the chains. Just tell me how to wield the power you speak of. The stranger's grin widened, an unsettling warmth illuminating the icy depths of his eyes. Then embrace the blood, offer it willingly. The storm shall know your commitment. For a moment, the world stood still as her heart battled against itself. The notion of surrendering her blood, the very essence of life pulsing through her veins, seemed a dark atrocity. Yet, to save her child, to ensure he grew free, could she? Or was this descent into madness? The shadows seemed to watch, their very presence intertwined with her desperation. I choose to protect him. She shouted, voice soaring like a battle cry against the twisting dark around them. Without waiting for a response, she pressed her palm against the ancient tome, feeling its pulse resonate beneath her fingertips. Power surged through her, and she closed her eyes, recalling every moment of love and sacrifice that led her here. With a deep breath, she pricked her finger on the gilded edge, warm blood pooling to mark her pledge, binding the promise to their shared fate. That in a flash, the room exploded with light, forcing the shadows to recoil. The stranger howled, torn between admiration and rage. You dare challenge destiny? I dare for my child. She cried, opening her eyes to see her son glowing with an ethereal light. As their fates intertwined, the shadows began to wane, retreating to the far corners. The energy surged, engulfing the room in a blinding blaze that shattered all remnants of fear. As the light settled, the stranger stood at the periphery, his features twisted in a mix of fury and awe. Your bloodline may be cursed, but hope flows stronger than the darkest legacy, she declared, feeling the warmth radiating from her son fill every crevice of her being, chasing away the past monsters that haunted them. The mansion quaked as the last remnants of darkness were unchained, replaced by a soft glow enveloping them, filled with promise. The storm had broken, not just outside, but within them. From the depths of the shadows, the figure hissed, you will regret this choice. Power demands its dues, and all shall pay. Not today, she hammered back, her heart steady, resolve carved from the depths of a mother's love. Not for my son. As the golden rays broke through the lingering wisps of fog outside, the stranger vanished, a last whisper chasing into the silence. The malevolent pull against her bloodline dissolved, leaving only the two of them, the mother and her child, wrapped in a bond strengthened by sacrifice and love. For now, at least, they had prevailed. The future would require vigilance, yet they would walk hand in hand into the coming light. The dawn was their victory lap against fear. With a heart full of fierce love, she whispered to her baby cradled within her arms, together, we'll uncover who you are, my son. Their journey toward truth and healing had just begun. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you love this thrilling journey, you need to subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Give that like button a massive smash now to help feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild ending, because your voices matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to see this conclusion. Keep the energy alive, and let us grow this amazing community together.